Hello, and welcome to the reading of the White Album 2 Guidebook. We are continuing on from the last episode with Coda's play guide. So we started to read about Coda and really the summary of what it's about, but now we're going to get onto the root guide and see which choices lead to which ending. So, starting here, in Coda, in addition to two types of flags, there are affection ratings for Setsuna and Kazusa, plus a cheating rating, all of which are related to the branching of roots. However, the cheating rating and Setsuna's affection only impact the options available at choice 12. As with the previous chapter, the following pages show a strategy chart for the common root, so you can check everything from choice outcomes to branch check timing as you go. In particular, if you set the normal root flag to on, then you will only be able to progress to either normal ending 3 or the cheating root, so you'll need to be especially careful there. If you choose I will never see Kazusa again at choice 2, thereby failing to show honesty, you will be unable to progress to Setsuna or Kazusa's roots. You can't be a liar, but then again, you have to be a liar in other instances, so it's just frustrating. If one of the two options at choice 12 is unselectable, that means you already have no chance of taking Kazusa's root. So, this is a pretty good guide to follow if you're unsure how to play. Flag settings at the start of Coda. The two flags in Coda are shown at the right and both are off at the beginning. In order to progress to Setsuna's root flag must be on at choice 12. So I won't read through every individual option here because we're going to go over them pretty much as the CGs themselves. So, changes for round 2+. Starting with your second time playing, round 2 additional text will be inserted in various places, and most of them will be shown in scene replay mode as differently numbered episodes. All focus on depicting things like Yoko's intentions and Kazusa's emotions, and many truths from the other side of the story are revealed, such as why Kazusa was barefoot when Haruki met her in Strasbourg, and how the Japanese performance that was denied in the interview was hastily decided. Kazusa's reason for coming to Strasbourg was to accompany Yoko on her vacation. So that's really cool because you get to see why things turned out the way that they did and what was the mindset behind certain actions the character take. That's the beauty behind the second replay. Now, the chart key is pretty self-explanatory. I won't read through that, but we will go through some of the choices. So choice 1, I'm planning to propose soon, makes Setsuna's affection go up. Not to her, because she doesn't hear you say this, but you do get 1 Setsuna point. Or, we've been dating for 2 years. Moving on to choice 2, I will never see Kazusa, turns the normal root on, but I've seen Kazusa make Setsuna's affection go up. Telling the truth again at choice 3, it was Christmas Eve when I ran into Kazusa makes Setsuna's affection go up again. Because, ultimately, Setsuna wants you to tell the truth. Is it absolutely horrid and makes her question the relationship? Yeah. But you need to do that in order to have an open and honest relationship with somebody. Number 4, it's not worth talking about. You get a cheating point. I don't want to tell anyone gives you a Kazusa point. Then you move on. Things are pretty self-explanatory there. It just kind of goes linearly. And then we pop back up to choice 5. I want to hear Setsuna's voice. You get a point for each. You get a Setsuna point or a cheating point. Or I promised I wouldn't be the one to call. And this one, you don't get a Setsuna point because, really deep down, Setsuna wants you to call. But you don't get a cheating point here either because you are honoring your promise with Setsuna. And in a way, that's important. That one would take you to choice 6, doing it's for Kazusa's sake, giving you a Kazusa point. Or there's nothing to worry about, which gives you a Setsuna point. So you can still go for either heroine choosing that one. Choice 5, effects. If you choose I want to hear Setsuna's voice for choice 5, a scene will be inserted in which Setsuna comes to the front of Haruki's home before turning back. Oh, because she wanted to see him, but she couldn't work up the courage to do that herself. Then we move on to choice 7, I won't go, which is for Setsuna, because he's actively making a decision. Or I can't go, which is like, well, you could. You're just really choosing not to. It's a mental thing. It's a little bit silly, but these are the types of choices where, as a new player, you're like, I literally don't know which one is the good one or the bad one. You know what I mean? And then in choice 8, if you embrace her, Kazusa's affection go up, as does the cheating points. Let her practice with you is definitely a mistranslation, because this choice is talking about after Setsuna's concert and Kazusa's crying because she saw Setsuna. You have two choices. You embrace Kazusa, or you let her use your shoulder. So let her practice with you. Yeah, that's definitely a mistranslation. Then we move on, continuing the play guide from Coda. Choice 9, go home. When Kazusa falls asleep, quote unquote, you just go home, and then Setsuna will like you more. Or you watch her sleep. Neither of which will lead to a good option for Setsuna, because I want to leave it forever. Kazusa +1. Or I want to embrace her. Cheating +1. If you do choose I want to leave it forever, additional Kazusa text will be shown at Unprepared Promise 1 and 17. Unprepared Promise 2. Flag check. Normal route flag. On? Yes. And it will take you all the way over to returning to Tokyo and fleeing to Osaka. If no, you have another choice, 11. Avert your eyes, Setsuna's +1. Look her in the eye, Kazusa +1. Whew, that's a tough one. Flag check. Normal route flag on? This is important. It's important to know where these flags are so you know where you're at with the heroines. If no, you get an additional choice. I just wanted to see you. Makes Kazusa's affection go up. Which is interesting. You end up going to Osaka, right? Because you feel guilty about the Kazusa thing. You go see Setsuna and she's like, why are you here? And you say, I just wanted to see you. That makes Kazusa's affection go up because you're lying about the purpose of you going. You are being dishonest with Setsuna, which, unfortunately, results in Kazusa liking you more. Not consciously, but in terms of the game choice points, this leads you to Kazusa's route. Cannot be selected if Setsuna's affection rating is higher than the sum of Kazusa's affection rating and the cheating rating. Or tell the truth about Kazusa, and if you tell the truth about Kazusa, Setsuna's route gets turned on because you are being open and honest with your girlfriend. Some CGs here. Oh, painful CGs because you got Kazusa and Haruki. Followed by Setsuna and Haruki, which is a disgusting turn of events, having those two girls in such a short period of time. And then Kazusa being very angry. Continuing on with our play guide here, beautiful images of Kazusa in the shower, as well as getting her hair brushed, which, if you have a crush on a girl, a little tip from me to you is to brush her hair, because it feels nice. It's very loving and tender. Choice 13. Let go. Cannot be selected if Setsuna's root flag is on, because obviously you probably won't. Actually, it's not obvious at all in this game. But in this case, you will not sleep with Kazusa if Setsuna's root flag is on. But if you do let go, it leads you to the cheating route. So let's just go ahead and read the blurb about that first. In the episode, Congratulations, in the cheating route, you will see a choice with these options. Remove her glasses and kiss her as she is. The event CG that follows will vary according to your selection. So if you want to view the complete list of CGs, you may want to save beforehand. This is like the most pointless decision in the game, but you do get a different CG for it. Glasses on, glasses off. Also, starting the second time you play the cheating route, the episode Unwritten Rules will change to Ashen Choice 2. And after the scene in which Tomo joins the usual quartet to go out drinking, a scene with a conversation between Setsuna and Tomo in the taxi home will be added. Tomo takes Setsuna to task for letting an opportunity to expose Haruki's secret slip away. That was a tough scene to watch, because they were gonna go to Haruki's house for an after party, but Setsuna's like, no, let's not bother him, no. But if they had, they would have seen Kazusa, so... Anyway, heading back up, if you turn your face away from Kazusa as she's begging you to sleep with her, you get to choice 14. I love Setsuna. If Setsuna's root flag is on at that point, then you will move on. If it is not on, then you just get the normal ending, which is kind of like, you stay with Setsuna, you still love Kazusa, nothing changes, you move on with your life. Or, I can't lie to Kazusa. Can only be selected if Kazusa's affection rating is at 6. Maximum rating. Final branching point for heroine roots. The branching off to Setsuna and Kazusa's roots takes place after the final branching point, but it is actually settled by the result of this choice, which seemed pretty natural because this is a huge choice. Do you want to sleep with Kazusa or do you not? If Setsuna's root flag is set to on at choice 12, then Kazusa's affection rating will not be at its maximum value of 6. So you will be unable to choose I can't lie to Kazusa, and will move to Setsuna's root. If the flag is off, you'll be able to pick either of the two options. But if you chose I love Setsuna, the flag check immediately thereafter will send you to normal ending 3. Only if you have selected every available option to raise Kazusa's affection, and if you choose I can't lie to Kazusa, you will move to Kazusa's root. And Kazusa's root just means Kazusa true, because Kazusa normal, otherwise depicted as cheating root, isn't considered the same thing, isn't considered the same branch here. That is its own branch. That's why it gets its own color. That is a distinction that you have to realize. Story changes in subsequent episodes based on root branch. At the stage at which you view these episodes, your branching off to either Setsuna or Kazusa's root will already be determined, and certain story developments will change as a result. For example, if you're heading for Setsuna's root, then while Haruki is spending his time in Kazusa's company, there will be scenes in which he texts Setsuna with status updates. We see Haruki persisting in his sincerity to Setsuna, even though he knows he won't receive any replies. That's really cute. Those are really cute, my god. And it led to such powerful, horrifyingly sad scenes later, but geez Louise. Then we have a big flag check. Is Setsuna's root flag on? Yes. Setsuna's root. No. Kazusa's root. That's a pretty self-explanatory flag check. It's probably the most simple flag check we've seen so far. Then we get a much simpler version of things. I won't read this out because we kind of just went through it, but basically all of the decisions, it shows you which route that it will end up leading you to. This doesn't include the points, however, like Setsuna +1, Kazusa +1, cheating +1. That's the only thing that's really missing from this chart, which is pretty important to getting on the right thing of coda, especially when some of the roots are so specific. Like, you have to do everything perfectly to get onto kazusa true. So let's move on to additional text, because that is always fun. If you follow certain routes in certain directions, you unlock additional text. It also corresponds with the pictures here, so each paragraph, paragraph 1, corresponds with round 2 additional text, number 1. So, in addition to seeing a conversation between Kazusa and Yoko regarding the interview while on the train to Strasbourg, we see a scene of Kazusa spotting Haruki at the station and chasing after him. And the reason for her being barefoot when they run into each other becomes clear. Because she's crazy and running in heels in the winter and her heel breaks. Also, a scene is added of Kazusa talking to Yoko on the phone back at the hotel. And then, number 2. In the train on the way back to Vienna, Kazusa makes up her mind to do the Japanese concert that Yoko has planned. Officially, she says it's for the continuation of Yoko Toma offices, but really, she wants Haruki to hear her play. Like, no question. That one was pretty obvious to anyone with half of a brain cell. Kazusa lies a lot. A lot of it's just to protect her own feelings, but she definitely lies a lot. Number 3. Haruki and Kazusa run into each other in front of Kazusa's former home. They part after an argument, but afterward, Kazusa mentally apologizes, just as Haruki does. And a word of advice, do not mentally apologize to anyone. If you want to say you're sorry, just say you're sorry. It is much simpler and more effective. Thank you, and you're welcome. Number 5. The day after Kazusa stays the night at Haruki's apartment, Yoko sees her daughter, who hasn't been able to sleep recently, sleeping peacefully. A scene is added in which she suggests Kazusa stay elsewhere. Afterward, we see Kazusa unable to sleep at the hotel. Because you sleep soundly being next to the one you love, and then after that, it's hard to sleep without them. Checking out 6 and 7. Haruki asks Kazusa to let him take pictures of her playing the piano. We see a scene in which Kazusa explains her real reason for refusing, as well as a scene in which Kazusa, out on a morning walk with Haruki and feeling happy to be with him, murmurs something to Yoko that could be taken either as bitterness or as gratitude. And realistically, I think it's gratitude. Kazusa is so happy in the life she's living, even if, at that point, it could be a lie. Numbers 8 and 9. Tomo spots a woman at Setsuna's live venue that she'd seen in front of Haruki's apartment. At first, she hadn't realized it, but while talking to the bartender afterward, she starts to wonder whether it might have been Kazusa. Then, after the show ends, she keeps Setsuna from going to Haruki's apartment. Yeah, that's sad. If you check out Setsuna and Tomo, she's like, not today. Don't go anywhere near his place today. Don't you dare. Because, she knows. She knows that Haruki is up on his behavior. His worst behavior. Number 10. Setsuna hears from Tomo that she saw someone who might have been Kazusa. As she writes out her feelings in messages she will never send to Haruki, their content makes her aware of the darkness in her own heart. Which, this whole thing really bothers me because I don't think of it as darkness. If you want to call it, doubt, that's fine. She does have doubt. She does have uncertainty about Haruki, right? Their bond isn't infallible. But at the same time, I don't think that's darkness. I think that's pretty natural to be pissed off at a boyfriend who cheated on you. I think it's pretty natural to be pissed off at the thought that he's doing it again. I don't think that's darkness at all, but that's just me, I guess. Number 11. After finishing his interview with Kazusa, Haruki falls asleep in her apartment. Kazusa, watching him sleep, speaks about how she really feels. Because that's the only time she tells how she really feels is when he's sleeping. Number 12. Haruki pursues Setsuna all the way to the location of her business trip, and she spends the night in the hotel with him. She accepts him even while being aware of his lies, but after he falls asleep, words of anguish escape her. Oh, I hate that. No. It sucks replaying it to find out that, like, she knew. Like, she absolutely knows that she's being lied to. Setsuna is something else. Like, why? Why do you continue putting yourself through this? Like, at some point, you just gotta realize, like, there's something wrong with you. And then the final one, additional Kazusa text. After spending the night with Setsuna, Haruki decides to take the bullet train back to Tokyo the next day. While listening to the recording of his interview with Kazusa, he notices that Kazusa has recorded a message of her own to him. That sucked. I hated hearing that. That is so devastating. To realize that you're too late, you know? Moving on to Play Guide for Coda, we have event CGs. There are so many, and most of them are sad. We'll start with Setsuna's route. So, what I wanted to do 5 years ago, slap Kazusa. Ha! They have their little slap fight, which was like the funniest thing to me. Loss of the world. Because Kazusa had built a world for only herself, and then it was a world of only herself and Haruki and her mom. Now the world is broken apart. What are you gonna do? You're gonna build a new world, or are you gonna die? Those are really your two options. A lot of the time in life, you can boil down your life to those two options. Do you want to move on and push forward, or do you just want to give up and die? And I know that's so morbid to say so directly, but if you honest to God think about it, that is the truth. You always have that two-thing option, and you need to realize that option one is always, always, always the better choice. Even if it seems painful, even if it seems impossible, if you just keep living, time marches on, and something will happen. You don't know what, but something will happen. Anyway, I'm getting lost in my own thoughts now. Rebirth of the world. Look at that, you see? Loss of the world moves into rebirth of the world. The one to whom I offer everything. There's Setsuna. And then you get Setsuna's ending. That's a very concise summary of the CGs in Setsuna's ending. Good gravy. Kazusa's route. A contract between demons. And everything crumbles. What opposite emotion to Setsuna's route there? No, but Kazusa's route where he doesn't physically cheat on Setsuna, emotionally is a completely different story, let me tell you. But things are a little less tragic up until the ending when Haruki has to cut himself off from everything, and then that's really where the tragedy lies. Mismatched price, where Kazusa tries to glass herself, and Setsuna stops her. Powder snow, where Setsuna can't bear it any longer and leaves. And then just one thing left behind, because Haruki left his guitar, but he also left Setsuna. And Kazusatoma's ending. Then, the cheating route. Look how many CGs are in the cheating route. It was a really tragic route. Honest lies, true deception. Unwritten rules. Ashen choice 1. So it boils down to, they decide to start sleeping together. They're still lying to Setsuna. Haruki's mental health breaks down. Congratulations. If you choose Kiss Her As She Is in the preceding choice, variations of these CGs will be shown. Because again, you either kiss her with her glasses on, or you kiss her with her glasses and hat off. Such a small decision, such an odd thing to have a varying CG of, but there you go. This is the edge of the world, which is funny because they went to Hokkaido, which is like the northernmost part of Japan. It's not even connected to the rest of Japan. And it's snowy and it's wonderful and they live in their own little world, but then you got to come to realize at some point that that's not healthy to do. You need to have connections to other things and other people in order to live a regular life. Bride in a black dress. Because Kazusa knows she's not the one that's getting Haruki, so she wears the black dress and gives him away to Setsuna. So many options on such different routes of coda. It's kind of like wild just looking at this right now and being like, dang, so many different choices in life. I'll try not to get too philosophical though, but like, geez Louise, there's so many choices we can make in our lives. Extra episode is adorable. Even after you've played through every route and viewed every ending from introductory chapter to coda, you won't have completed CG mode. The remaining 6 CGs appear in an extra episode that is unlocked in Special when you complete certain requirements. The extra episode is connected with the cheating route, and the story unfolds through alternating between the points of view of Setsuna in Tokyo and Kazusa in Vienna. To the right are the CGs shown in the episode, with the exception of one CG from the ending. Setsuna tries to rescue Haruki from his mental snap, while Kazusa attempts to pull together a piano concerto for Yoko's sake. The two sworn enemies converse. This was a beautiful, beautiful story. If you haven't read the extra episode, you need to. It's really powerful. The bond between Kazusa and her mom, the bond between Haruki and Setsuna, and then Setsuna and Kazusa reconnecting. It's just, man, it is really good. Very, very interesting extra episode, especially since it comes after the cheating ending, which usually isn't anyone's cup of tea. And I know a lot of people have enjoyed it in terms of the story itself because it's interesting and it's intriguing and it's wild, kind of like Chiaki's, how I feel about that. But in terms of this is the best ending for Kazusa, no. Not a lot of people say, this is the best ending for Setsuna. No, I don't think so. So the fact that that ending got its own extra episode is so funny to me. Of course, they do have extra episodes later on for Kazusa True, Setsuna True as well, but this one was in the PlayStation version of the game as the extra episode, which is so funny. Play Guide Special. There is a little bit of unlockable extra content. After you clear introductory chapter for the first time, a new option, Special, will be added to the title menu. As you fulfill various conditions, new content, including digital novels and voice dramas, will be unlocked and viewable here. The PlayStation 3 version of White Album 2 is very complete. It is very cool. In this section, you will find summaries and unlock conditions for each piece of extra content. Furthermore, in order to view CGs and listen to music in CG mode and music mode, you will need to see and hear the respective images and tracks during gameplay. If you play through to the ending of every route, you'll encounter most of them. CG mode also includes variations of CGs, but some of those variations show up at times that are completely separate from the originals. Apart from designated special content, you will receive a message that shows when certain additional episodes are unlocked. So it's really cool because in order to get the full picture of White Album 2, you do need to read the side novels. You do need to listen to the drama CDs. This is such a convenient package of a game because it has all that. And that's really, really cool. And I highly, highly recommend reading these if you have some free time. They're not even that long. They're amazing. And you will learn so much more about the characters. We'll go over them briefly here as well. And I've done readings of all of these on my channel as well. If you're curious, if you don't want to read it yourself, I have those there. But before we get into the summaries of all the novels and voice dramas, I think we will stop there for now. So, thank you ever so much for joining me on this White Album 2 official guide reading, and I'll be back with the next episode shortly. So until then, hope you take care. See you!